Hi everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Simon Says Stamp, and yes, we have another wonderful release. This one is called Holly Jolly, and we are going to be doing a lot of die cutting today. So the die that I'm going to focus on is the Joy Script die. Now, what's great is, one, this is with Simon Says Stamp and CZ Designs, and also it's a 2-layer die. So you have your, what I call the cloud background, and then you have the script that goes on top. So I pulled out my Simon Says double stitched rectangles, which means that stitching on both sides where it cuts. And I'm going to be using traditional green, red, and some gold for this card. So I went, yes, my plates are nicely loved. Sorry about that. So this just makes my camera shake, but I figured I'd give it a try to see what that, yeah, it's time to change my plate down there. Oh my goodness. And then I just set that off. The room was just being like redone, so this was actually sitting up on my table for a couple videos, so get ready. So after I have the first one cut, that was cut 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I'm going to take the next die down with that cut out on top so that I know where to position the next one. This is going to give me a step frame going down to the center. And that's what I'm looking for. So the next piece now is going to be the red cardstock. So you can see I have about a 1/4 inch border on each side. So it's going down about a 1/2 inch. So once I have the gold set in place, now I'm just going to grab the next die down, hold it in place with my mint tape, and then run that through my die cutting machine as well. And then that's what that panel is going to look like. And I really like that look. It's a different type of frame. You don't know which way it's going, so it's kind of cool. I then pulled out my Christmas foliage die set by Simon Says, and I focused in on the holly and the berries. And at Holly Jolly. Okay, so now you can see how many I have cut out here. I mean, I went to town. I'm like, I'm going to fill up this whole section. I had so many ideas for this card. I had a shaker card first. I had the background filled up with these die cuts first. Then I thought, okay, I'll fill up the opening where the red is with all of these die cuts, and I'll go over that. Yeah. So it's great. Now, these pieces will not go to waste, but I am going to tell you right now, no, I do not use all of them. I am putting a set of holly and berries in the 2 upper corners of this rectangle area. But I will use them for other projects. My die cuts I always keep. That's what that cloud piece looks like when it's die cut. So I have those, and you can see when I put this panel, it's going to have a white border around the edge. So I'm good with the center of this being white as well. I got some glue all over the place like I normally do. So I just used my glue eraser to remove that. I'm going to be using my red gems from my stash just for the berries. Now, by all means, you could use the berries that we cut out using the die and then glossy accents on top, or your shimmer pen, by all means. But I knew the red border was going to go around this. So I didn't want it to go into the glossy accents if that's what it was going to do. I'm now going to layer up my frames, and they were all cut to the same size, 4 by 5 1/4. So they should all match each other equally. And you can see just how it's just on that line of where these hollies are peeping out through. And then the same thing with the green. These should all, and will, and do, match up evenly for this project. I'm going to grab my double-sided foam tape because I am going to use that to prop up the frame. Now, when using that glue eraser, and I'm sure everybody else knows this, I am always late to the game and late to the conversation. So I found that if you let whatever glue it is dry, and use that eraser, it will work better. And I know you all know that more than I do. But when I was trying to use it before, while the glue was still wet, it was just moving the glue around. So I figured, all right, I'll wait till it dries, and then we'll take care of that. And it worked beautifully. As I said, I'm sure you guys know all of that. Again, I figure these things out afterwards. So I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to put this right over that area. Now, I'm noticing my pencil lines, so I want to make sure that the majority of those are removed. I don't want them to show through the red panel. And I'm just going to continue to use that brush. So I'm going to set this down, and again, you can see you have a nice white frame going around the outside, and you'll have that on the card base. So this is just a piece of scrap white cardstock that I had that I'm putting in the back of this, and I'm using my scissors to cut around the edge. I always do this when I make my shaker cards. I get very nervous when it comes to something like this, going directly onto my card front. By doing it this way, I have the ability to make sure that it is centered within that standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this one will be a side folding card. I'm going to use my liquid adhesive and start layering my sentiment. So I did cut the cloud background once, and I cut out the red joy 3 times, just to give it a little bit more dimension and texture to the front of the card. Now, by all means, you could have still made this a shaker card. You know, definitely could have put a piece of plastic underneath that red, put, you know, more sequins in there, and then those hollies would have just stayed there in that area, and then placed your joy on top of that. Again, so many different ways, and let me tell you what, I thought and did all of them. Meaning I cut them all out, saying this is what I'm going to do. Nope, I don't want to do that now. So again, if you're going to change your mind, it's okay. You know, let your mind change. Let your design come out to the way that you feel comfortable letting it come out. As I said, I was ready to do it like 5, 6 different ways. And this is what I ended on. I wanted it to look dimensional, but simplistic at the same time. And that's what I was going for. When you have a sentiment that's this big, and it's a nice size sentiment. You kind of want to make that the focal point, as I hiccup. You kind of want to make that the focal point when it comes to the card. So I think just setting that right there helps to make that just center stage, and we have lots of shine. Don't need to add any more to the front of that card. So I do hope you enjoyed today's project featuring Simon Says Joy Script Die from their Holly Jolly new release that is available now. So make sure you go to their website and check it out. All the links to the products that I used will be down in my video description. As always, and if you have any questions, please make sure you leave those down below as well, and I will make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Enjoy your day, continue to smile as we continue through our journey, and also stay safe. Make sure, though, you do what's most important for me, each and every day, even if it's just a small amount. Always be creative. Till next time, guys.